Good afternoon. So I've decided to make some Christmas pouches, and I have been inspired by a lady I watch on YouTube in Australia called Lisa Knits and Vlogs. She makes some beautiful things for charity, and she's been making some little pouches she knits. And I want to knit one, but I thought I'd have a go at just crocheting one and see how I go. So I'm sort of making it up as I go along, because I'm not exactly using whatever pattern she's doing. I've just been inspired. So to do a slip knot, this is my easy way of doing it. I go around my finger twice and I just hold it down with my other finger. Pick up the back one and bring it forwards. I put my thumb on to hold it. I pick up the new back one and bring it forwards and over my finger. And there is my slip knot. Just an easy way of doing it. I figured that out after struggling with all the other ways. So I figured that out, and it's just an easy way that I remember. So you can use any yarn, any size hook. This is just cheap yarn from a $2 shop, and I always use a bigger hook because I'm just so tight when I crochet, it's terrible. But I can't seem to change my ways. So I'm going to just wing this and have a go and make it up as I go along. And so there's two ways you could sort of do this. The same as I made the other red bag and the blue bag, following somebody's tutorial, is you could chain a great big long chain. Then when you've done, and then work all the way up and fold it, and that is your bag, and just sew up two sides and do a top. But I might do a few chain and then just do one big long skinny sort of pouch and then fold it up and sew it up down two sides. So there's two ways you can do things. There's always an easy way you can do things. I'm not a perfectionist, and I don't worry about being too fussy. I just like to, my motto is give it a go. That looks a little bit too skinny at the moment. My motto is give it a go. It doesn't have to be perfect. Somebody will love your work, and a child would love to receive your work. It doesn't have to be perfect. So that looks like a pretty good size for just a little pouch. And of course, when you do a chain, I have noticed that it always ends up being a bit wider anyway. So let's just see what happens with that. So I have chained. I'm not going to count them. I'm not going to be too fussy. Now, often I can do single crochets, which is US single crochets. That's a UK double crochet. But I might do some UK trebles. US single crochet and UK trebles is what I work in. So I use two different countries' names for stitches. So a UK treble is a US double. So I'm just going to yarn over, just for this first one, I'm going to miss a stitch. Don't ask me why. Everyone else misses a stitch, so I better. But once I get going, I'm not going to miss a stitch. Or at least I don't think I will. So this is how I do the treble. Yarn over first, and then in every stitch as I go along, I'm going to treble. And then I'm going to go for as long as I like the bag to be, and then I'm going to double that length so that I can just fold it up. So you can do any stitch you like. You don't have to do a UK treble. You can do it. I notice a lot of people for bags in America use a half double crochet. I've never done a half double crochet. You can even do yarn overs if you're knitting, or you can do chain spaces, and you can make it look a bit lacy with some holes in it. So you can do anything you like. You can make stripes, you can do Christmas colours, and you can just do anything you want. It's just the inspiration for the shape and the idea that I thought I would show you with these. So I'm just doing some treble as I go along, and I'm going to go all the way there, and then I'll just keep going backwards and forwards for as long as I like it. But I'm going to, for the length of the pouch, the height of the pouch that I want, I will double it so then I can fold it over. And I'll come back and show you what I'm doing. So hopefully it works out. I'll see you soon. Okay, so I'm back. So I ended up doing 26 rows of UK treble, which is US double crochet, and then I'm going to fold it up, and that's going to be the size of my little pouch. So of course you can make it much longer or much wider. You can do anything you like. In fact, I was thinking if I had a elf on the shelf, I could make it really long and he could hop inside and use it as a sleeping bag. And then I thought I could put my little Izzy doll in a bag. But of course this one won't be long enough, but I might make one that's a little bit wider and longer in a different colour, and it can be a little bag that she can fit into, or a little sleeping bag. But this one I want it to look a bit Christmassy. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put white around the top, some chain spaces, and maybe try and do some sort of little frilly edge, like a shell stitch, but not. So what I'm going to do now, after folding it up, I'm going to put a stitch marker at each corner here and in the middle, just to hold it so that when I'm sewing down the sides, it doesn't move and it doesn't end up going crooked. And I'm going to just do the best I can to either sew it with a little needle like this. It's got a little, oh, you can see better on here, it's got a little bit of fishing line on the end, or you could even do a crochet stitch just to hold it down each side. So I'm going to do that and then I'll come back to you. But of course I'll do it inside out, because here's my join. I ran out of yarn. So I'll do it inside out and then I'll turn it around. And when I ran out of yarn, and I suddenly thought, you could do one side one colour and one side the other, and then you just have to sew 3 sides. Or you could do, I think I've seen people make little bags and pouches using granny squares. You could have different colour and different shaped granny squares on each side and just sew them together and make them a different size. There's lots of little ideas, and using up scrap yarn's a real stash buster, isn't it? Okay, so I'll come back when I finish sewing it up. So here's what my bag's looking like, and I actually changed my idea. I sewed it up with the wrong sides together, and what I did was I just did I don't know if you can see the little edging on here, I just did little US single crochets just along the edge, and I just have to sew the yarn in on the inside. So I did that on both sides, and I think it gives quite a nice little edge. I quite like it. And so all I've done up here is I'm going to do another row of UK trebles, and I'm doing it in white so it looks Christmassy. It looks a bit like snow on top. So I just joined my yarn. So go ahead and join up your yarn after you've sewn it together. And what I'm going to do on this side is I'm going to go in between these trebles here, or US double crochets, because there's no actual real stitch to pick up. But when you get to the other side, you can actually see there's a stitch. So on the other side, I'll just be picking up the stitch. And I'll see what it looks like, and if it looks too different to this side, then I'll just go in between. But I'll decide when I get around the corner. So just go around the corners as best you can and see what it looks like. So this is just a work in progress. You're seeing me have a go at something with no pattern. That's what you're watching. So it's not a perfect tutorial, it's just an inspiration tutorial. So I'm just going to chain 2 here, my yarn over, and then I'll go into the next space and I'm just going to work my way along this side until I get to the end, and then I'll turn the corner as best I can. Now you can stay the same colour, or you can change the colour like me. So I think that'll be all right. I'll see you when I get around to the other side. Okay, so I've got my white along the top, and I think it looks really nice. Now I was going to do another row on top of that's where the chain spaces were going to be, but because it's such a excuse me, little pouch, my lungs are still clearing after all the concrete dust I must have breathed in yesterday. I'm not as hoarse now, thank goodness. I think it looks quite nice on the smaller pouch. So I just did the best I could going around the corner here, and I kept it the same going into the chain spaces on both sides. And I think it looks all right. I'm quite pleased about that. And so I made a chain, and all I did was, as I was chaining, I held it out to the side, doubled, and I made sure when I held it here I had plenty. Probably got too much. By the time it stretches and I pull on it, it's probably too long. But I remember once when I was sewing some drawstring bags, when I went to put the ribbon along the top, I measured from here to here and thought, oh yes, and I cut it, and then did another piece exactly the same, and I had two pieces, and I thought, what am I supposed to do with that? So you've got to make sure it's doubled so you can hold it on the side and it comes out. So I've got one of these little needles here that I absolutely love. I don't use anything else now for any sewing up or any type of threading. So I'm just going to poke it through in and out every second treble space, or US double crochet space. And I'll get that done, and then I'll come and show you when it's finished. Gosh, what a fun little project to do for Christmas, for children or grandchildren, or to give away to charity. You could fill these up with a little toy or some lollies or a little gift voucher, hang them on the Christmas tree somewhere. I think they look really sweet. I'm really pleased. And look, it works. I think that's really cute, and it's kept me busy today. And so I'm going to do a green and white one, and then you could do red and green stripes with white at the top, but I'm going to do some other colours as well. But you can change this to make different sizes, and just let me know what you get around to making, because this was just so much fun. So I really enjoyed that. So thank you very much, Lisa, from Lisa's Knits and Vlogs in Melbourne, Australia, for giving me the inspiration. So go check out Lisa's channel and the beautiful little pouches and other things that she knits. So I definitely want to have a go at knitting some too. But I just thought this is so sweet. I love it. So thank you very much for watching. I hope I've given you some inspiration. Keep smiling. Bye.